Hello, Trevor. Um, if you could just introduce yourself and talk about what you do, and yeah, just give me an introduction to what all you do.
My name's Trevor Dixon. I'm a 22-year-old freelance graphic designer and photographer, mostly specializing in sports. Um, I'm a dad, a husband. I have a son that's a year and a half old. I've been married for about 2 years now. So yeah, I actually dropped out of college and I only have an associate's degree. So just rocking with that and seeing where it takes me.
All right, so you said you do a lot of graphic design freelance work. Um, so just kind of going off of that, how have trends in social media and photography and graphic design affected how you market what you do to potential clients?
Yeah. So I mean, I think the trends recently kind of play into my favor, right? I think a lot of what social media is doing now in the college space, uh, like basically it's just everything is more modernized. Graphic design work has only become more frequent for me as uh as athletics pages have continued to trend in a money making direction, and that all of that has a huge following. So yeah, I mean, it really only helps me out in my space.
What kind of mindset have you taken to find success in your fields, in your industry, and uh, why have you taken this approach to this?
Yeah, so my mindset has kind of just always been detail oriented, very, um, I pay very close attention to details. I think that's what kind of like sets me apart from my competitors. As far as like research for branding and all that stuff goes. Um, yeah, I just like to pay really close attention to my craft and make sure I'm hitting all the points that my clients need. And how can I integrate certain things into my designs or into my work that can set me apart from everyone else.
Can you describe a time that you had to take a calculated risk in your business, like investing in equipment or turning down a client? And how did you weigh the potential cost and benefits of that decision?
Yeah, so for me, I think it was well, I have two examples for that. I think it was dropping out of school, and that might seem like the wrong decision to make in that scenario. It was a risk I took to focus on actually like what I do full time, um, and be able to take the extra time that I had to work on perfecting my craft and design and photography. And then recently I've taken a pretty big risk in actually dropping a full day at my full time job, so that I can take that day and work on design and work on photography, and get paid for that instead of I've had the privilege to drop a day, but it is still a risk. So I mean I think in the space that I am in as a freelancer, risk is how you're gonna make it in the business, and I think you kind of have to bet on yourself, and hopefully it'll pay off for you. But it could hurt you long term, especially in my situation. I have a family to think of. I really need to make sure my risks are very calculated. But I also am passionate about what I do, and I want that to work out for me long term. So sometimes you just have to make decisions that are risky, but will be worth it down the
Yeah,
road.
yeah, that makes sense. Just because you have to, there's a lot that goes into it, and so that's very understandable. Um, Kind of going off of after that, what would you say is your target demographic when it comes to what you're marketing, and have you done research to find the right prices and figure out what your potential clients would want or need from your graphic design and photography?
Yeah, so my demographic is athletes. My slogan is visualizing your journey, and that's basically just saying, like I do design work, I do photography work, so you can, see yourself, you know, making big plays or making big decisions such as, committing to a school or, having a big game where I can make a graphic where you hit 1,000 career points or something like that, right? Um, yeah, my demographic is just athletes, and it's by marketing myself out there. I follow a lot of athletes. I do work for a lot of athletes so that when they post it on their page, I get followers from them posting on their page. I get future clients by continuing to work with just athletes because they follow athletes. It just snowballs on itself. Um, so yeah, that's something that's taken me quite a few years to build up. Um, you can't just build that follower base overnight, and it's been a long process, but I'm to the point where I no longer have to reach out to people to work for them. They reach out to me, um, which is a great space to be in. And as far as pricing goes, it's really hard. It's a competitive space. You kind of have to calculate that yourself. And what I've done is, I know what my time is worth. If something takes me around an hour or two, I want to make sure I'm getting paid enough for that. And, that's really hard to do when you start out. I remember I started out doing free work, um, a lot of free work, reaching out to people, doing a lot of free work for them. But like I said, now they reach out to me and I get to charge them what I feel, is what I'm worth. And usually it's a flat rate for every single person I work with. Um, Maybe more, depending on what they ask of me.
Yeah. Um, so kind of going off of that, so you mentioned that you had to start out by reaching out to people or like reaching out to contacts, and now it's not as like people come to you now. So kind of going off of that, how has networking, both online and in person, helped you to find new clients for your business or even collaborators for your business as well? Like you can talk about both.
Yeah, I mean it's literally everything, right? Without my presence on social media, I wouldn't have any clients. I think most of what I found connection wise has been in the online space, and that gets a little tough, when you're trying to. Sorry, one
Oh, you're good.
second. Where was I at? I don't remember.
I'll
Okay.
just re-ask the question. So, kind of going off of that, how has networking, both online and in person, helped you to find new collaborators or clients for your business? Because you talked about that.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, without my online presence, I wouldn't have a client base, right? And I think that's been the biggest part of my, business, my freelance work is online connections. I've had some in-person connections that have definitely gotten me into certain places. I've worked for ETSU, with a student organization there. And that was kind of my first big gig. I didn't really get paid for it, but it was like the start of me interacting with these athletes that eventually I actually did paid work for. They paid me to do some work for them. So that was kind of my big snowball, my first big snowball. But yeah, like I said in the previous question, it's just really online connections is everything. I think that's how I run my business, and I the I've actually have a pretty steady, consistent gig right now, and that was through online connection, Instagram, and he reached out to me for that. I didn't know who he was. I randomly just followed him one day, and that same day he had followed me back and had DM'd me asking me to do some work for him, and that's turned into something. Like I said previously, I'm able to drop a day of my full time job so I can work on stuff for him, and he pays really well, and yeah, it just works out great for me.
Yeah. So you've talked a little bit about Instagram and how that's really helped with networking. Um, so so is Instagram the main way you've networked online, and like how many followers do you have right now, and like how has that grown like over the last few years since
Yeah,
you started doing this?
Instagram is my only platform. I probably should start a Twitter, a YouTube, all that, but just thinking about where I started from, I started, at 300 or so followers probably about 2 or 3 years ago. And now I'm at 1,800, getting close to 2 grand. Um, that is hundreds of hours of building those connections, following people, then following me back, all that stuff. But yeah, that's my biggest presence. That's my only presence, and yeah, that's how I run all my stuff. It's grown a lot in the past 2 years, obviously, like I said, but it's grown the most probably this year. I think I've gotten about 800, 900 followers this year. So yeah, I mean, it continues to grow, and I'm very proud of my page and all the work that I put into it.
So you kind of talked about this a little bit, but so starting out, you had more of a strategy going into growing your online presence for your business. Is it more of an organic growth now that you've already gotten that traction and there's less strategy, or is there still strategy that you're using to grow?
Yeah, so it's definitely more organic now. I think I'm verified right now. I actually Full transparency, I pay for that verification on Instagram. I found that I've had it in the past few months, and it's actually helped me grow. That's where my most organic growth has come from, just being verified. Something that people can trust is that blue check, and it makes you seem more legit, and it's really helped out me. But yeah, it's definitely more organic for sure. And my strategy now is kind of the same. I'm always looking for potential clients, and a big part of who I follow on Instagram as well is inspiration. It's photographers and designers whose work I look at and oftentimes look up to because what they're doing. Maybe they're at universities or pro teams, and their work is some of the best in the business. That really helps me, find some direction and what I want to do long term with continuing to improve my work and never really settling for where I'm at the moment.
Um, what when it comes to like tangible resources like equipment or software, um, what has been like the most essential equipment or software that's helped you grow your business, or um, have like that's helped made it easier to grow your business by making your job easier, or like or like
More
networking or
efficient.
any, yeah,
Yeah.
everything, just making everything more efficient. What is some equipment or software that's done that for you?
Yeah, I can start on the design side here. Really, it's only one thing. Well, first of all, I guess it's two things. I was actually blessed enough to be able to earn enough side money here just off of some stuff I was doing earlier this year to upgrade my PC setup. I edit everything on a PC. A lot of people like to use laptops, but I just find that a PC is just better for what I like to do. Um, so yeah, I mean, essential number one is probably the PC, right? I mean, that's where I do my work, and for the second thing for design really is just Photoshop. And those are honestly, the only two things you need. My PC was $800, and Photoshop is about $10 a month. So I mean, it evens out to where it's a very low cost to get into for me, very low upkeep, and I'm able to, whenever I'm making money off these gigs, I'm able to profit all of that. So that's huge for me. A lot of other businesses, you're gonna have to buy product to sell, so you're taking a loss there. So yeah, I mean it's just, for me it's all profit. And on the photography side, I obviously I use a camera, obviously. But my camera was about $800, and then my lens, I have two lenses. They were both $100 each. So I put $1,000 into that. But with all the work that I've done, I think I've profited off of photography at this point, and that's something I'm gonna need to upgrade in the near future. Um, but it's been enough to get me started over the course of about a year. I've only been doing photography for about a year, so. But yeah, it's really low cost. I edit my pictures on Lightroom. It's also $10 a month. So everything is very low cost, very low upfront. Only about $20 a month to keep everything going.
So you kind of mentioned how you'd like to upgrade some stuff in the future. So kind of going off of that, are there any resources, tangible resources that you don't currently have, or that you want to have, or maybe upgrade, or just anything like that that you think would be beneficial to your business in the future whenever you have better funds or whatever to upgrade them?
Yeah, so honestly, for design, I don't really have anything that I really need to get since I just upgraded my PC. Um, really, there's not a whole lot to get on that front. There's a lot of, there's like texture packs. There's like stuff you can buy, like assets you can buy that would be cool, but they're very low cost. And that's something I could afford right now. I just don't necessarily need, because there's a lot of that stuff is free elsewhere. And then on the photography side, there's plenty I can upgrade on that. Really, photography is one of those things where you can have an eye for it, all you want, but a lot of it is you pay to get the best equipment, and your pictures will look good. Um, there's v- very little on the, I don't know. Creativity is huge in photography, but you can have a good camera and very little creativity, and your photos are gonna look amazing. So yeah, for me, it's upgrading my camera body, which is gonna be about $1,000 to $1,500. Upgrading my camera lens, which is gonna be another $1,500. So I mean, you're looking at about two to $3,000 right there worth of stuff that I would like to have for photography. Just because I would like to get more into it. It's not my number one thing right now in my business. It's more design, and photography is more for fun. I'm still getting paid from it though, but uh, yeah, I mean that's in the future. I think I'll be getting a tripod here soon, so I can do some video for basketball and stuff this basketball season. But yeah, for photography, it's really just upgrading that camera body and that camera lens.
Yeah, and that's expensive stuff, so it makes sense that that's something down the road. Are there any like plans that you have on maybe like a timetable to maybe raise funds or have the funds to possibly upgrade that stuff, or is it not something you've thought about yet?
Yeah, so my goal is for next football season, high school football season, I'm hoping to upgrade my camera. I think I'm gonna do my camera lens first and then upgrade the body maybe the year after that. Um, but yeah, so definitely my goal is to have, I have the funds for it. It's just hard for me to drop $1,500 on something that I don't make a whole lot of money off of right now. It's hard for me to justify that, but I'm I will I'm definitely going to be setting aside some of this design fund that I'm getting to save up for that lens I can get next fall.
What resources such as like reputation or creativity or brand or relationships or ideas like one of those, like it's intangible resources basically. Which one of those would you say has been the most valuable to the success that you've achieved?
Uh, I think I would say reputation is definitely number one. Um, I want to be, known as one of the best in the area, one of the best designers in the area. I think I am. I I think a lot of people, I have a lot of people referring me or referring future clients to me, just friends in the space, photographer, designer friends in the space. But reputation is everything, and that's kind of what I touched on at the beginning. Like I'm very detail oriented. I want to get to know your brand, and I want to design what's best for your brand, right? So that's like colors, logos, city, location, you know details about the school, um, just details to include into a design that makes sense for your brand, right? So I want the reputation to be that I'm very detail oriented, as well as very timely. Like I take this very seriously. Uh, I'm 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 usually good about a very quick turnaround, and that's something you need, for future clientele is to be known as someone who is punctual and can get the job done at a high level, and that's what I want to be known for. I think second I'll just touch on is probably inspiration. I That's been huge. Pinterest is actually huge. You wouldn't really think Pinterest is a it more has a reputation for you know moms. I would say gardening, baking, whatever, how like whatever decorate decor or whatever. Uh, it's been Pinterest has been bigger than Instagram for me as far as finding inspiration goes. There's limitless designs on there, and they're all very high level. I think my design board has over 1,000 pins on it right now. So I spend a lot of time on Pinterest. I think I spend over an hour a week on Pinterest. So
So kind of going off that, you mentioned inspiration. Are there any diverse like perspectives or perspectives that are different than your own that you've looked or looked at to better understand the industry of photography and graphic design that have helped you?
yeah, so I'm always trying to, especially in the design field, I'm always trying to challenge myself. I really don't want to be stuck to the same style because I want to improve, right? It's a very self-motivating process of you always want to try to get better, you always want to improve, you always want to try new styles. So yeah, I definitely looked at a lot of different inspiration on Pinterest. I think there's more of like an artsy style that I'm not the best at, but that's something I looked at. My personal favorite is the professional looking style, something you would see on ETSU's athletic page, Tennessee's athletic page, Texas, whatever. That's the style I gravitate towards the most, but I really try to challenge myself. I think uh, really try to challenge myself from brand to brand. I don't want to be making the same thing twice. That's something that's pretty big to me. And then on the photography side, it's uh, yeah, it's inspiration to try different shots, try different angles, challenge yourself. I think what I've had the most fun with is actually not really client work. It's mostly going for something like artsy, telling a story, going for something that is a little bit outside the box, not necessarily like straight action, but action that tells a story, or the storytelling is mostly my preferred angle in photography.
Just one more question. You mentioned that you had an opportunity that you got through uh, through networking that is a big opportunity that you're currently working on. If you just kind of talk a little bit more about how that came, because you mentioned
Yeah.
that they reached out to you, but just
hmm
kind of go through that and just what all of that is.
Yeah. So I worked for a guy that he's actually his name's Newton Creative on Instagram. CJ Newton, very talented videographer and photographer. He runs like a very cool business where basically like college athletic pages, like Tennessee, like I mentioned, uh, they have a football page where they do photography, design, videography, all that stuff. He does that same thing for high schools. And there's not a lot of high school pages in the space. But he's from the Knoxville area. He has a lot of big clients in that area. He's got his biggest client's probably Maryville High School. He does basically every single sport for them. So yeah, he just runs their social media pages, and he does not know how to do design, and he doesn't really have a desire to learn how to do design or anything. So he reached out to me and asked if I would, help him out with some design stuff. He has a designer that he also has hired, but she's a little busy. She goes to Tennessee actually, and she's a design intern over there. But yeah, so he reached out to me with an opportunity to work for him. I currently I'm doing the entire branding of Albertville High School basketball in Albertville, Alabama. Yeah, it's his first Alabama client, and I'm also doing the entirety of branding page for Concord Christian men's and women's basketball, and I also am doing U.S. Elite Baseball. It's a travel baseball team in the area, and they're also across the entirety of the United States. And then a few other small jobs for him as well. But currently, those are my main three that he's asked me to take over for him. So I'm just doing their mostly it's their like game day graphics, but also doing a few other graphics for them as well.
Well, I appreciate you giving me your time today for me to interview you. I learned a lot, and just appreciate you coming and just giving me your time for this. But thanks,
Yeah,
Trevor.
for sure. Thank you. I appreciate it.